Alright, welcome back to Dimensional Analysis Part 2. This next video deals with derived units. Okay, a derived unit is a unit that's made up of two or more other units. So as you can see down here in our example, we've got miles per hour, so that involves the unit of miles and hours, and we want to convert that into meters per second, so that involves the unit of meters and seconds. So both of those are derived units. So let's go ahead and jump right in on how to solve this problem. The steps are all the same. The first thing you have to do is identify the given, and obviously your given is going to be 43 miles per hour. However, you're not going to put 43 miles per hour over 1. That is not the correct way to go about this. Instead, you're going to put 43 miles, that's the first unit in our derived unit, over 1 hour. That's the second unit in our derived unit. Let's take a look at an example for a second. Let's say that gas today costs $3.52 per gallon. Okay? This per sign right here, this division sign, that's another way of saying equals to. Alright, so anytime that you see per, you see that division sign between something, then you can go ahead and understand that that means equals to. Alright, so $3.52 is equal to 1 gallon of gas. Alright, on the other side of this per symbol up here is the number 1. Alright, it's always one of that other unit. So if you are driving 52 miles per hour, this per here tells us that you're actually driving 52 miles for every 1 hour of time that elapses. Okay, so 52 miles is equal to 1 hour, and remember that number is always 1 on the other side of the per symbol. So that's where this 1 comes from here for hours, 43 miles for every 1 hour. Alright, we're going to put our little dot in our fraction bar just like we have done. And now, this is the only part where we add an extra step. We don't even change the steps, we just add one more. You're going to pick one unit to deal with at a time. Alright, so I think I'll go ahead and pick miles first. So if I've got miles on top, I have to have miles on bottom. And now it's time to go get some conversion factors. I'm going to go ahead and list all the conversion factors out on the screen. So let's grab a conversion factor that deals with miles. Okay, and it looks like this first one deals with miles. Okay, so 1 mile is equal to 5,280 feet. Okay, so this first one has been used. That one's done. Obviously, we are in feet, which is not the correct unit. We need to be in meters, so we're going to keep going. So we'll add another dot and another bar. And since we have feet on top, you have to have feet on bottom. So we're going to come back down here and find another conversion factor that deals with feet. And that looks like the second one. So 1 foot equals 12 inches. We're not there yet, so we're going to keep going by adding another dot and another bar. And since I've got inches on top, I need inches on bottom. And it looks like this one deals with inches. So 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. Okay, now you might be asking yourself or saying, well, wait a second. This conversion factor has inches in it, and this one has inches in it. How do I know that I was supposed to use this one and not this one over here? That's because the second one here was already used in this example problem right here. But that one's done, so it can't be used again. Alright, the next one, we've got centimeters on top. so we have to have centimeters on bottom. So we're going to come over here and let me cross that one out. And we see this one has centimeters in it. So we see that 100 centimeters equals 1 meter. And that is the unit that we are trying to get to for distance, is meters. So we're done with the distance part. Notice, miles cancels miles, feet cancels feet, inches cancels inches, centimeters cancels centimeters, and we're left with meters in the numerator, which is what we want. Now we've got to get seconds in the denominator. So we're going to add another multiplication dot and another bar. Now here's the only part that I'm going to use the word tricky, even though this is not tricky at all. But in the beginning it tends to throw you because it's opposite of what you're used to doing. You are, at this point, used to looking at a unit on top and matching it up with a unit on bottom. Okay? But now we're going to look at a unit on bottom and match it with a unit on top. Okay? So since hours are in the bottom, we're going to have to put hours in the top in order for them to cancel out, top and bottom. Alright, so let's come find a conversion factor that deals with hours. And we see this one right here. Okay, 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. Okay, so that one's done. Okay, now we've got minutes on bottom, but we're trying to get seconds on the bottom. So we add another dot and another bar. And we say that we've got minutes on bottom, so we need minutes on top. And then we'll use our last conversion factor here, and it deals with minutes. It says that 1 minute is equal to 60 seconds. Okay, so notice that hours on bottom cancels hours on top, and minutes on bottom cancels minutes on top, and we're left with seconds on bottom, which is exactly what we wanted. Okay, so overall we've got meters per second. Okay, so we are in the unit that we want. It's time to multiply across the top and divide across the bottom. Now notice I ran out of room lengthwise, so I kind of had to make a secondary little thing here. So we're going to say 43 times 5,280 in your calculator and hit the equal sign or the enter button. Then multiply that number by 12 and hit the equals button. Then multiply that by 2.54. And then the rest of the stuff on top is ones, even down here in our secondary area. So we can just ignore that. Now we're going to have to divide by the things on bottom. So the first thing that we see to divide by other than 1 is 100. So divide by 100 and hit the equal sign. Then divide by 60 and hit the equal sign. And then divide by 60 again and hit the equal sign. And if you do all of that correctly, you end up with 19 meters per second. And I am taking significant digits into account. In your calculator you should get 19.22272, so on and so forth. But notice up here in the given that we have a significant digit here and a significant digit here. So there's only 2 sig figs, which means our answer can only have 2 sig figs. So that's why we stopped at 19, because the 2 does not round the 9 up. So 19 meters per second is the answer. And that actually gives us a new conversion factor. I mean, that would be a weird conversion factor to have, but it's true. We could say that 43 miles per hour is equal to 19 meters per second, and that could be a conversion factor in a future problem. Again, that would be a weird one to have, but it would work. Alright, that's it for this lesson. We will continue with another one next time. Thank you for learning with me today.